185 of our mission driven life. The mission of our podcast is to set the world ablaze with the missions of leaders. So that's what I'm super lucky to do with you all today, because I'm so fortunate to have powerful guests, guests that have leadership, guests that have business skills, and guests that have ultimately confidence. So that's actually what we're going to be covering today in this episode of 185. I get a chance to interview leaders and spend time with leaders who have done it, who have taken action on their own missions, that now they want to share the same thing with you and give you gifts that you can start using to negotiate with confidence. Now, before we start here, Yvonne is a confidence catalyst. She is a best-selling author. She's a speaker and a social entrepreneur. She has written a book, an amazing book that you can actually get down below in the link. I put it's called Words, Women, and Wisdom. You can get your first 3 chapters of her book, and it's amazing. So go and grab that book and let her know that you got it from me. So just in case that maybe she asked or anything. So glad you could be here today, Yvonne.
Hi, Kevin. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, and we have like 5 people actually watching us live on Facebook already. So I want to thank you all for tuning in. If you're watching us live in our on Facebook, drop a comment down below. Let us know that you're watching, and thank you for your support. Because today, look, I want to learn about this, and I know our audience wants to learn about this, especially the young entrepreneurs, especially the corporate executives, especially some of the young leaders that want more in their life, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So why confidence? Super curious about that.
Why confidence? Well, when I decided on my goal list, I was going to write a best-selling book. I thought about, what am I known for? What is the primary work I've done over the past 10 years with my clients, which are primarily female founders, women entrepreneurs, and corporate leaders who want to flourish in business. They want to have the skills to have confident conversations and to be able to attract new sales, to be able to grow their business if they're an entrepreneur, and also hire and motivate their team and do it authentically. So not trying to be doing it like a male leader, like a warrior, but using female authentic skills and competencies and our positive but feminine energy. So I wrote the book, Words, Women, and Wisdom, and a lot of the reason for doing that was partly what I've been telling my clients over and over, the same things for the past 10 years, but also thinking about, my own personal story growing up with my mom. And I grew up in England. You can tell from my accent I wasn't born in Canada. And I watched my mom, who was married late in life to a very aggressive man. He wasn't before he came back from the war, took a bullet in Dunkirk, and It made him very, very mean. He had PTSD. And he drained the life right out of her. She didn't speak up. She wasn't confident. He took the car keys. He took her freedom, drained her dignity. And I just swore I would never, ever let myself be in that situation. And I would also help other women to step up and speak up more confidently. And negotiation is obviously a key piece in business that relates to confident conversations.
Yeah, I agree. It's one of the key parts. And I know, like that experience with your father, right? And kind of moving. Is your grandfather or your father?
This is my father. He's passed on now.
Yeah.
The net result of living a very angry life was he ended up committing suicide at 82. And
wow.
I hadn't spoken to him for 20 years. So, it was a messed up childhood. However, my mom I did keep in touch with until she got Alzheimer's, and she also passed away at 82. So a lot of life lessons. I'm actually older than I look, so I'm put 25 plus years of business success experiences into the book. It's 40 different words and word concepts to help women in particular to elevate their confidence, to ask for what they really want and get it, but do it in a win-win fashion. And so the content is derived from my years of experience, 15 of which were spent in senior HR roles, 8 startups, working as an executive coach for the past 10 years and confidence catalyst, and bringing that together with interviews from influential and powerful women who were confident and able to share some wisdom nuggets. So it's their stories, my stories, and 175 references to people like Cheryl with Lean In, well-known authors, speakers who have concepts that are worth sharing. So, yeah, important book.
Love that.
You were asking me about win-win negotiations right before we just went live. So, is that where you want to start?
Yeah, perfect. Let's get started with the negotiations, because I know I want to start from the basics with some of the people that are watching, because some of our listeners they maybe don't know how to negotiate or ask for what they want, or maybe negotiate in relationships, business, friendships. Where do you think we could get started there?
Okay.
What do you think?
So my first tip is, when I was interviewing and hiring for employees, for staff, I interviewed and hired about 6,000 people in my career. I realized that it's really, really important in any discussion to have a common set of values. If you think something's black, I think it's white, we are never going to agree in the middle that it's gray if we have those values. Yeah. And our values are the core fundamental purpose behind having these collaborative conversations, because you believe in something and so do I. So if you start there, and if you're not sure what your values are, there's a great free online assessment called the BIA, which I use a lot with my clients. It's Martin Seligman with the Happiness Institute that developed it, so it's well researched. It's BIA? Free. It takes about 15 minutes, and it's online, BIA. So I would go there first, and then for those of the listeners who are entrepreneurs, obviously you want to have long-term relationships. You don't want to keep having to go out and find new clients all the time. You want to build solid relationships. So if you start with common values, that's helpful to begin with. Then when you're negotiating, you know that what is fundamentally important to them is also one of your values. You're not trying to convert somebody who doesn't want to be converted. You're already on the same stream. So the other book I love is this one, Attracting Perfect Customers, The Power of Strategic Synchronicity. And it's Stacy Hall and Jan Brozhnev. And it's an excellent book. And what they use for their focus is really about attracting your perfect customers. So getting really, really clear on your avatar, your ideal client. So you know what kind of people you want to negotiate with, and you know exactly, what qualities they have, what makes them tick, why do they get out of bed in the morning, what it is that they expect from you, and how you have to show up in order to attract them. So it's using law of attraction principles. And then also, it's interesting to see, maybe you need to shift something else in order to be able to attract those types of clients. So it's a bit of self-awareness too. And I know it works because I actually crossed out the word customer and used it to attract my husband. So attracting your perfect guy as opposed to customer. So I went through the process and he showed up within 2 weeks. So if you're listening and you're looking for love, hey, that's a negotiation too.
I agree. I agree with getting clear on what I want, who I want to help, and who I want to work with, right?
Yeah, get crystal clear so that you know what makes them tick. In the case of attracting my husband, I don't think he's listening to this, but I knew that I had to step more into my feminine energy and stop having such a high level of masculine energy if I was going to attract the type of guy that I wanted. So I had to be more open to being supported and not try to do everything myself independently, which is my previous style. So I'm more than capable of putting up a set of blinds, but I would ask my husband, honey, can you help me with putting these blinds up? Simple example, but let him be the powerful one, right?
Yeah, that's super fair. I agree. I think that's...
And it works with clients too. So, if you know your values and you know their values and what's important to them, you know who your ideal client is, it's much easier to build those win-win relationships. To take it one step further, though, when you go in to negotiate, a lot of times we're taught antiquated sales techniques. So you go in and you say, so tell me about your biggest challenge, because that's their pain point, and that's going to help you identify how your services must be something that they purchase. I suggest not. I suggest using a appreciative inquiry concept instead. So come to the table and say, tell me a little bit about your business. I'm curious. What's working really well already? They share because they're happy to, right? They're not talking about pain points and challenges, which drains their energy. And then after they've shared, then you say, that's interesting. How could it be even better? What's in the future for you? And then they share again. And then after that, it's your opportunity, because the world lives on reciprocity. If you meet someone, you say, hi, how are you? And they say, oh, I'm great. How are you? Right? We always have this need to support each other. So then I say, it's interesting. Can I share a little about my business? Because I think I might be able to help you get to where you want to go faster. And they never say no. There's no reason to say no, because we're talking about a future possibility. So there's no objections come up in that. There's nothing to object to. It's a collaborative conversation, building relationship, understanding them, sharing a bit about what you do and how it might dovetail with what they do. And then that's where the conversation really takes off. So it is about building the longer term relationship and knowing how you can support them. And they've already shared what their ideal scenario is going to be for this coming period. What's exciting and what they have to look forward to.
Yeah, I agree. So let's backpedal. Let's backpedal a little bit. Let's backpedal, because I think there's something I really want to go into about negotiations.
Yeah.
Because I agree, like learning from myself, I'm a sales guy, I like to present and give an offer and get asked for what I want. How would you suggest, let's say I'm in a negotiating, like a meeting. Let's say I'm trying to think of in my shoes of a client right now. So let's say I'm an entrepreneur and I want to negotiate, let's say, a better offer or with a partner.
A better offer?
Like a partner, something.
Like a joint venture partnership?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's role play it. Hey, Kevin, nice to meet you. I hear you're interested in doing some sort of venturing joint agreement. Tell me a bit more about what you're looking for.
Yeah, so what I'm looking for, I know that you're a coach and I know that you write books, and maybe I can have you come speak at this event that I'm hosting. And I would love to, there's a couple ways to get this. You could come speak on the stage, but I'd like to do a revenue split with you.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about the event and why you see it as being a great fit for both of us. I'm curious.
Yeah, awesome. So I think this event is going to be great. There's going to be hundreds of coaches in this room, and many of them, they are struggling to get known. Many of them don't know, they don't know who each other's are. They're not on stage. They don't have any books, and they don't have the confidence to sell their own product. And there's going to be hundreds of these going to be there. So I don't know. Well, how can we help them?
Well, based on you knowing your client, what do you think would be the most impactful for them? What would they want to take away from the session that would be incredibly valuable?
I think what would be really valuable for them would be to learning about sharing their own wisdom and knowing that their belief in themselves is stronger, right?
Okay. So sharing their wisdom, easy, right? Social media. Believing in themselves enough to be able to confidently put that out there, that's an underpinning piece. So absolutely. We can talk a little bit more about what that would look like. What's your ideal scenario for a revenue split?
I want 90% of your commissions.
That's interesting. Tell me more about why you feel that would be appealing for me.
For me?
What's in it for both of us? Not just what's in it for me, which is a classic, right? But what's in it for both of us?
Yeah, okay, all right. So what's in it for both of us? I think I would say some of these, I would say 80% of these coaches they have a net income of about $60,000 a year. 70 actually, yeah, $70,000 a year. So that would be, I don't know, that divided by 12. But they have income, they have money. And I know you're going to be selling a couple of your offers, and I know that you're going to be having what kind of offer are you giving at this event?
Typically, I'm guided by the event host when I'm doing these kinds of joint venture kind of arrangements or splits. So I could potentially have 50% of the room who are women, which is my particular specialty area, that are interested in one-on-one coaching or joining a wisdom circle, and I could do a back split for you on revenue generated from that. Typically, it's about 15% though. So if we could make it work, book sales, there's all kinds of different options of how we could make it work.
15%? You're trying to give me 15% there. So you want to give me 15% or you get 15%? Who gets 15?
Well, typically if it's a referral scenario, 15% is not uncommon. Yeah. So what I think would be better is to have a more detailed offline conversation, right, about what the benefits are for both parties and make sure that it's going to be something that works. So you have your event and you have some short-term goals. I think it's useful for both of us to understand a little bit more about our long-term goals and just make sure it's a good workable solution. Are you up for that? Do you have your calendar handy?
Yeah. Okay.
So let's do that.
Yeah, I love that. That was really interesting role play there. That was really cool. I love how you were calm and there was a level of indifference there. I noticed it on your part. You're indifferent. You're just like, you didn't need the deal. You didn't need it.
That's the essence of confidence, right?
Yeah.
Is, if it's something that works for both parties, great. But when business owners are hungry for business, and if they're at that $60,000 a year mark, they probably are hungry for business. That energy of intensity and desperation, it comes across. People feel it before you even open your mouth.
Yeah.
So if you can come to the conversation with that clarity of, this is my ideal customer. I either want to work with the person or I don't. These are their values. These are my values. These are my non-negotiables. This is what I would want to have out of a potential deal. These are my minimums. Otherwise, it's just not worth talking about it. Right? When you come to the conversation with that level of clarity about yourself, it puts you in the driver's seat. You're facing forward. You're not looking in the rearview mirror. And you're really in service. How can I support them? Tell me more about them. What would they find valuable, right? Because it's not about me as a speaker, just standing up and sharing knowledge. It's about, is it impactful? Is it going to help them? Is it going to help them move the needle? What would they find the most valuable? And if they find it valuable, then they'll attend your event, so you'll find it valuable. And if we can strike a happy deal for, what the splits look like, then I'm happy too. Everybody's happy, right? So that's when business flourishes. When you're coming to the table with a mindset of, let's figure out how to make it work. And being open and willing, flexible, but coming to the table clear on what your non-negotiables are.
Yeah. Having clear non-negotiables.
Yeah.
And having a clear idea of who I want to work with.
Yeah. Because if your values and my values are vastly different, we're probably not going to get along at the event, and that's not going to be good for anybody to see and experience, right? There'll be tension in the negotiation of what those splits might look like and how it makes sense. And participants are pretty savvy. They pick up on that energy. If you've ever walked into a room and a couple's just had an argument and they're just finishing an argument, you can feel it, right? Yeah. There's intensity, there's energy in the air.
It's awkward. It's like awkward
energy, right? So you didn't mention that I'm trained in Reiki, but then again, I don't know if I put that in my profile. So that's another underpinning for when I wrote the book is, you know, how can we come to the table with an intention that is pure of heart? It's not just about me winning and you losing.
Yeah.
If you don't win, neither of us win. And if the world woke up and had more of that thinking, I think we would have a much more conscious planet.
Say that. Can you say that last part again? I really want to nail that because I want to make sure our listener gets a chance to hear that.
What was it I just said?
Something about win-win or something.
If you come to the discussion with the intention that everybody wins, then we would have a much more conscious planet. If we weren't thinking I'm going to win and you're going to lose, if we both wanted to win-win, and I know it's an expression that's been around for a long time. I think right now it's more commonly embraced. It's about how do I do that? So if you're clear on what you're negotiating, who you're negotiating, what's the ultimate benefit for them, then you can figure out how your skills will support them to get there faster.
That's fair, yeah.
As an entrepreneur, I mean, if you go in, say you're a coach, right? Very early on, I mean, I've been coaching for the last 10 years. I was also a coach on the team for Coaches Business School. But if you come in and you're asked, what's your hourly rate? And you give an answer, what's the point in that? Because then the other person's brain is kicking in saying, wait a minute, her rate is $400 an hour? Wow, think about what else I could do with $400 an hour. Whereas what they're actually paying for is the value of all of your 25 plus years of experience, plus your coach training, plus. It's like going to the dentist, right? You don't want the dentist that's the cheapest. You want the dentist who's the best trained, who's going to give you the less painful experience and get the job done. Same thing with coaches. So by bundling your services and not just having an hourly rate, you're in a much different ballpark. It shows that you've already elevated past the basic understanding of how to have a business that is typically driven by billable hours, because you're eventually going to run out of billable hours, right? So you need products, you need services that you can deliver to multiple groups, not just one-on-one. You need online offerings that can go 24/7, that can be generating revenue while you're not even there. So there's a lot of other things that go into negotiating, but for coaches in particular, I would say never answer that question with an hourly rate, because that's not relevant.
Yeah. That's a fair point. I think that is such a really interesting point about having all these different product lines and having the win-win and having just thinking how can everyone benefit, right? How can everyone win? Because I used to think it used to be always about lose-lose or win-lose. So if I close a sale with someone, I used to always think, oh, it should just be I get a commission, I win, and the other person is losing because they're paying me and they lose money. Because you know what I mean? I used to think that. Sometimes I still do, but I'm trying to break out of that mindset and come back to win-win, where I'm like, okay, how can this customer benefit, and I can benefit, right?
So if you crossed out the word sale or sales out of your vocabulary and put in service or serve instead, that is a big shift for most people, and yet it's the underpinning of a successful business. Because if you're not serving your client in a way that is impactful and meaningful for them, they're not going to come back. If it's a one-hit wonder, a one-time sale, then you're going to have to go find one more sale all the time. Whereas if you have clients that you nurture and support versus customers that are more oriented towards a one-time sale, then you'll have less churn. And churn is what takes up the entrepreneur's time, right? Where's my next sale coming from? Well, how about making it about serving, right?
Yeah, good point. Thank you.
Again, it's back to what's my intention? My intention is to have a flourishing business working with clients who value what I'm offering and recognize the benefit of working together for the long term.
I agree, and I think that there's huge value in everything that you just said there.
Yeah.
Especially intention, coming into the intention, and I'm challenged with that all the time about not having the right intentions. But it's always good to remember why I do it and how can I help in this meeting I'm going to jump into, or what I want, right?
Yeah.
So
without knowing enough about your customer, because they've talked first,
yeah,
and you've said, hey, tell me about your business. What's exciting and interesting this year? What's working really well, right? If you start there versus, what's your biggest challenge? I mean, literally, when you ask that question, you'll very often see the energy drain right out of them. It's like, oh, I got to talk about that horrible thing that I created in my business by making a bad decision, 6 months ago. They don't want to talk about their pain point. They want to talk about things that are working really well and how could it be even better. Sometimes they'll bring in the fact that, last year it wasn't so good because of blah, blah, blah. This year I'm planning X, Y, Z. So it gives you more information to work with. And it's only 2 questions. And that's taking that approach is what I've coined appreciative sales kinetics. So it's appreciative inquiry concepts, which were originally developed by David Cooper-Ryder. And he had 4 questions, but I've condensed it just to 2, focusing more on what most of my clients are asking about, which is business growth. So what's working really well? How could it be even better?
That's awesome. That's amazing. I think that's a very powerful thing that you teach that. I just want to thank everyone for listening today, and I want to thank everyone who tuned in, who got a chance to sit on live, and maybe tune in for a couple minutes. Maybe you jumped on for a couple seconds. Maybe you jumped off, or maybe you're watching this on the replay whenever we come back, or whenever when this is ready to get uploaded onto our platform. If you're going to be looking back at this in several years from now, I want you to remember what it means to have that good intention, to think about the win-win, and to serve and attract your perfect customer. And that's what Yvonne really shares and teaches in some of her books and her trainings and speeches, right?
Absolutely. And if it's a big switch up, post it on your mirror. I know it sounds goofy, but that's what the classic transformational teachers all say: is put it up on your mirror, write it on your mirror. For the women, it's usually in lipstick. So that whether you're saying I am enough or I am not selling, I am serving. Yeah. Whatever it is that you need to focus on, and so that you see it, every morning, every night as you brush your teeth, maybe a few times during the day, brushing your hair, but have it somewhere that you're going to keep seeing it and repeating it. Yeah,
I had it on the mirror as well. That's actually a smart idea.
It's not my idea. I can't remember who was the first person that came up with that, but there's I think it's more in the common wisdom domain now.
Yeah, let's do it. But hey, thank you so much for your time there, Yvonne. Thank you for tuning in. If you're watching the Mission Driven Life, put a comment down below. If you support other entrepreneurs and other coaches, please put a comment, because look, maybe you're not paying us anything. Maybe you're not buying the book or giving your email in exchange for the 3 chapters of Yvonne's book. But if you put a comment down below, it actually helps out a lot. So more people will see this, and friends will see this. Maybe someone that who is suffering and challenged with negotiation can maybe reconnect with Yvonne, and they can start growing their business, and they can start getting what they want and start changing the world with their own mission.
Mm-hmm. Can I just say one other thing?
Yeah, sure.
Just in closing, I think it's really important that business entrepreneurs recognize the value of what we're creating and the energy we're creating. It's not just about sales, it's about serving. So for example, with my book, for every copy that's purchased, I donate one to a women's shelter foundation or not-for-profit. So it's a buy one, give one model. There's, 12 plus different models of how you can bring social enterprise into your business. I really encourage everybody that's a business owner to find a way to integrate that into your business. It's not about giving back at the end of the day. I give back 10%. Well, that's nice. However, giving back implies you took something away in the beginning and now you have to give it back. So I'm a big fan of building it into your business so that it's a natural part of what you do, and that will keep that socially conscious win-win mindset front and center.
Wow, I love it. I find that really interesting how you do that. But that's pretty cool. I want to start adding some social entrepreneurship to warrior leadership and what we do. That way, um, that's
Well,
really
we're already
interesting.
talking offline about your coaches conference you've got coming up. So let's talk more.
No, that's actually not. That was just a joke, but it was an actual real thing.
But as soon as you said it, I mean, it's like in coaching, right? Somebody says to me, "Well, I think it might be." Well, you know what? The fact that you verbalized it, that probably is the challenge. So let's dig into it. Let's dive in.
All right, let's do it. Thank you so much for your time, Yvonne. And hey, don't leave the call yet, because when I end this live video, I'd love to connect with you again. Thank you for tuning, everyone. This is the Mission Driven Life, episode 185. This is a daily podcast. We give you value daily on leadership and mission. So thanks you for tuning in. Let's see you guys tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Jeez.